Hello, everyone. Welcome back to The Collector. I'm Ken, aka the Super Tech God, aka the Super Variant God. And today we have a special episode for you guys. We have with us the one and only. This person has, how can I say this? All of the Dan Hipp variants. So, yes, today is a Dan Hipp variant special, as you guys see from the title. So, this person, of course, is my rival in the WSF League. This person also is the king of QBrush. Had the pleasure of meeting him at the Creator Clash as well as SnapCon. He is a fellow Tampa native. Ladies and gentlemen, help me bring in the one and only, very talented, by the way, guys. Default Dan. Default Dan, welcome.
Yeah.
How you doing?
What's up, man? I'm doing so good. So good.
Fantastic, guys. Default Dan does a lot for the community behind the scenes. He is the big tech behind a lot of things, a lot of tournaments you guys see currently. Don't be surprised when you see his name attached to it. Default Dan is very skillful in all things overlays and tech. So,
I
my friend,
appreciate
well, friend for now, because WSF Championship, Hip
Yeah.
Squad stuff, for now. But of course, we couldn't do a Dan Hipp special
Mhm.
without having you here as well with us, because you are the collector of the Dan Hipps. But we'll find that out once we go through all your collections and see if you can handle the final segment. So to start it off, what is the meaning behind Default Dan? Why you have that name?
Yeah. So I get the question a lot because my name is not actually Dan. But back in the day, so it actually came up on my timeline. I think it was almost 9 years ago. I created a game called Default Dan. So a bunch of me and like three other guys, we used to do a bunch of competitions with creating indie video games and things like that, where you had like 48 hours. They gave you a topic, you had to build it from scratch. And we built a game called Default Dan in one of those. And it's a reverse Mario. So you have to retrain your brain, things that are good or bad, things that are bad or good. And we took that to a bunch of conventions. We got to meet a lot of YouTube creators like Smosh and the Game Grumps and PewDiePie and some of these other guys, and they played our games, and it was a fun time. It was a whole fun time. And once I already had the YouTube, the Twitch, all of that, the Twitter already created with the name, I was like, well, I'm gonna start streaming, and I'll just start there, so I don't have to restart with all brand new stuff. So that is where the name came from.
That is awesome. So I do remember seeing someone play it. It was Eddie and streamed
Yeah.
it. So I thought it was a joke. I thought it was a meme. I didn't watch him do it. I just saw the post. But now,
Yeah.
guys, you guys actually hear it as an actual game called Default Dan, and we'll leave a link to that in the description so you guys can go out and play it. So your collection level, what is it currently?
Oh man, so I just got a little bit over 17,000 today when I was just upgrading some random cards. So
Wow.
yeah, it's on up there, but I am just like yourself, day one beta jumping in. So I've been in Snap since it was available. Even if I wasn't in the US and I was somewhere else playing this game, if you get what I mean.
Of course I do. A lot of people that come on, that's exactly how they got into Marvel Snap, moving to a different country and coming back. It's totally fine. There's no issues there. So how many variants do you think you have?
Oh man, I'm not. So when it comes to variants, I don't have a bunch.
Before we do that, how many Dan Hipp variants do you think you have?
Yeah, so Dan Hipp, I have. I know it's over 70 or 80.
Wow.
I need to look because Dan Hipp is the second most variant like class outside of Pixel in the game. And when it comes to variants in general, I don't collect a lot of different variants, just all of the Dan Hipps. I started with Venomized, and then it seemed like, again, during the beta days, kind of seemed like they died off. They were doing Nullified, and they were doing Carnage Dies and all kinds of other ones. And I was like, I don't know if I want to like chase all these different styles. I love Dan Hipp's art style from Teen Titans Go and things like that. So that's kind of where I was like, hey, there's a bunch of those. I like his art style. I'd love to have one day a collection all of the same variant style. So I jumped in there and just been collecting just those. So I've got quite a few variants, but nothing like yours.
Oh, well, yeah. If you say so. I mean, a lot of people come on here. I think you guys are very humble with your words. So we'll see when we get to that segment. Now, speaking of Venomized, I think today the Venomized Gambit came out in the store.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was pretty cool. I was very surprised to see it. It looks good, but I
yeah,
totally agree. They did start off high with those and then kind of died down. So
yeah.
let's see
And
what.
on top of that, like all the Venomized, even though they look really cool, they're 1,200 gold. Dan
Yes,
Hips are 700 gold, so
right.
it's
Better
also
chance to get them
some
in the
savings
collection.
there.
Yeah, of course, and better chance getting them in the collection level, right? Versus
Yeah.
having actually purchased them. So that's pretty good. All right. Do you recall what your first variant was?
My first variant was actually, I believe it was an Ant-Man. Ant-Man just says variant. That was my very first variant that I got in the game. And I used it for a good while.
That's a good Ant-Man variant. I definitely like that one. It reminds me of the Ultimate Nova, funny
Hmm.
enough. So
Yeah,
that's pretty
I
cool.
could see that.
Now, what was your first Dan Hip variant?
Oh, my first Dan Hip variant. Let's see. I think Wong was my first Dan Hip that I got. And again, just loved the style of it, the
Right.
colors, and I kind of went from there. Starting to pick up the rest of them.
All right. That's fantastic. Listen, we love the history behind your name. We love to
Hmm.
find out how you got into Marvel Snap and, of course, your first variant. Now, the
Yeah.
second segment, we're kind of going to dive in more into the variants by asking you to show us your best base card.
Let me jump out of here. I wish there was a way of sorting just base.
Yeah, that would be nice. But
Let me see. I would say, Mitch, it's probably Carnage. Let me find this twos. Where's Carnage at? Oh, hang on. I really like this one. So it's Carnage inked as base. I don't have a lot of bases that I've split and split and split, but definitely love this Carnage. I think it's a clean one. I would have loved Crackle, but I'll
no, this
take
is
it.
perfect, especially with the red
Yeah,
Glimmer Flare, right? Or Stardust Flare. If it was a gold Stardust Flare, it'd have been a lot better with the name, but the red one is not
yeah,
bad because Carnage is red. So that's pretty cool.
yeah.
So now your best Dan Hip variant and it's split. Now you can have multiple. So if you have multiple, definitely show it and let us know why those are your favorites.
Yeah, I think when it comes to my Dan Hip splits, I've got quite a few golds, which I've been kind of going after. One of
Ooh.
my favorite Dan Hips in general is just the collector. Again, I'm not trying to suck up to you with the show or anything. I just love the style of collectors. So I've been trying to get the gold on gold splits with all the Dan Hips. I would say overall, the collector in this split is probably my favorite.
That is awesome.
So
That is
I
awesome.
think
That's a good
if
one.
I would have been on last week,
Yeah.
when you had the I love gold, this is the one I
Yes.
would have pulled up.
That's really yes. That's been a good. That's been a perfect one actually.
Yeah,
That's awesome. That's amazing split. I kind of felt it would have been the collector,
yeah,
given your WSF persona when it comes to the Hip Squad. But I
yeah,
wanted to see if that was the case. All right. Is there
yeah.
any other Dan Hip
Uh,
one that you really like that you
I
want to
think
showcase right
I
now?
think the other one I really like is the new Carnage. So I got a Crackle split on this one, but
Goodness.
again, would have loved like a gold Crackle or red Crackle or something like that. But
Green.
this Carnage just in general, just the movement and everything with it, I really
Yeah.
love the card. And again, the gold on gold just really makes them stand out.
Every time you get the green crackle, it's always for a card that you don't want it to be
I
green.
know.
The
Here's
worst.
the funny thing. So we got green Crackle there. We've got, is it Zabu? Oh, never mind. I started getting purple Crackle. So Zabu has purple Crackle and Killmonger has purple Crackle. I don't
Yeah.
know why, but
It
I
looks
got those like back to back.
that is horrible. It looks great, but I understand
Yeah.
the purple crackle. Give me something else. It could have been any other color, black,
Yeah.
gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get that. I have a Enchantress with a blue crackle. I'm like, why couldn't it be green? Why couldn't that one be green? You give me
Exactly.
Iron Man with green. Why couldn't you give me that Enchantress? But no, that's pretty good. So
So,
now we know what your favorite collection of cards is. Dan Hip.
mhm.
You mentioned that he also did the Teen Titans. Is there any other art styles or anything else besides Dan Hip that you would want to start collecting as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think going back to like the Venomized, I was collecting them from the start, and what I wanted to do with them is just be the base, like inked out gray border and everything. So I have a few of those, and like Thor's probably my favorite out of all of those. Just kind of
Oh,
the way he looks with the detail and everything. So I think if I wanted to put in there, I just think the Venomize look cool, and there's a lot of really cool ones that are coming out. Like we just had Chavez the other day. We've got Gambit,
yes.
that came out this morning, and all of those. So yeah, I think Venomize would probably always be that secondary that I fall on. But Kim does a good job. Like there's a lot of really good variants out there. I don't want to just spend all my tokens on ultimate variants where all of his keep ending up.
Yeah, it's crazy. And those ultimate variants, some of them are not worth the ultimate price. So
Yeah.
I hope at some point we get a discount on those ultimate variants. All right, awesome.
Yeah.
This is great. Now we go to the last segment of the game or the show where it's a pretty much interactive. So we're gonna have your two guests here with us, no pun intended, that will be judging you based on your selection. I'm gonna give three topics. So
Okay.
you watch the show, but just in case for those who haven't seen it, it's the first time you're watching it. The way it works is I'm gonna pick a topic, whether it be a song or a line from a movie, and then I have to act it out or sing it if it's a song, and then your judges will have to give you a rating based on what variant you chose to match that topic. So, for example, if I said Ice Ice Baby and you picked Iceman, yes, the judges should give you some points. But if you picked a Raptor or a Rock and said because they're Vanilla Cards and Vanilla Ice sang the song, they should give you more points for your creativity. All right. So, are you ready for this round?
I'm ready, man. Ready,
All
man.
right, let's bring in your judges. Starting off first, of course, this person I also met at SnapCon, doing big things, doing great things, great content creator, also rolling out the CCG Hub. Ladies and gentlemen, help me introduce this person has also been on the Marvel Snapcast with us. Shiva, ladies and gentlemen. Shiva, welcome, my friend.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I even wore the SnapCon t-shirt today to
that.
represent. So.
I
love it.
Got all my stuff back there too, man. That was an incredible experience for those who weren't able to make out. Make sure you make it there next year.
Next year for sure. I hope it's in Tampa again too. That'd be great. Shiva, again, congratulations on the rollout of CCG Hub.
Thank you.
Amazing website. Definitely enjoy it so far. We'll talk about that a little bit more afterwards. Let's bring in the other guests, of course. This person is amazing. Definitely met them at SnapCon as well. Doing a lot of big things also on the CCG Hub. Met them prior to that on other websites doing a bunch of content. Ladies and gentlemen, help me introduce the one and only ItsGuestGaming guest. Welcome, buddy.
Hello. I am a different kind of ready. I am all different kinds of ready in a way that will embarrass Default Dan, because as much as Shiv has shown up with his SnapCon t-shirt, I am rocking probably, I think, one of the few remaining evidences of the Default Dan merch.
That's true. That's true.
I stole from his house in Tampa.
Wow. That is amazing, ladies and gentlemen. We got to really play this game. Default Dan. Do we have a website for the rest of this merch?
Yeah,
it's gone.
I got to get the new merch.
Peanut butter logo? No, please.
Yeah,
You don't need it. You don't need this.
the new merch I got to get up. But no, that was all from con days back 8 or 9 years ago when we used to, try to sell this game to everybody walking by the booth. But it's on Steam now, so
there you go.
Get it.
Wow, that is amazing. That is awesome, guys. Welcome. Thanks for coming down, and I hope you guys are going to judge Default Dan as fair as possible. This is why you guys are chosen.
Yeah, guest. Fair guest.
I've been judging him for 3 years. This is nothing new to me.
Wow.
This is my wheelhouse.
Oh boy, this is going to be a fun time. All right, let's see what happens. So I'm going to start off with the first topic. Some of these topics will go easy, medium, hard, but depends, because a lot of people think that the easy ones are hard. So I'm going to start off with the first topic. I think all of you here watch wrestling. So I'm going to start with a line from one of the greatest wrestlers of all time currently, and that is, "Acknowledge me."
All right, let me see. I'm gonna go with.
I'm judging you already.
This one.
All right, you ready? That's the one.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with this one.
All right. This is Swarm, Dan Hipp Swarm. All right, of course, Default Dan only can pick Dan Hipp variants. He went with the Swarm. Tell us why you went with the Swarm.
All right, so I went with the Swarm, and this is more so just the art itself. So I love the Dan Hipp art, and if you look at Swarm, I mean, that is exactly what is coming out of his mouth. acknowledge me. And he wants to be seen. He's a card that just usually stays in your hand. He gets destroyed all the time. He wants to be acknowledged that he is helping you, whether it's building up your collector or giving you some free 0 drops in his hand. He wants to be acknowledged. He wants to be that powerful card that he just never really is.
All right, judges, write down your score. Let me know when you finish, and we will see if you guys love the answer from Default Dan or hated it.
We'll see. We'll see what they say.
All right, you ready?
Ready.
All right, on the count of 3, okay? 1, 2, 3. All right.
Okay, I'll take the 3.5. The 2.3.
All right, so we'll start with you first. Guess why did you give him a 2.3?
I mean, I was going to give you a 0, but Mobius is everywhere, so that canceled that out. So it brought it back up. So the 2.3, I'm going with the 2.3 just to keep it thematic with Swarm at 2.3 specifically, because I feel like if you're going to go Roman Reigns, at least pick something with hair. That's number one.
You can't see him. It's under the hood. It's under the hood. You can't see.
Yeah, but it didn't give that ooze. Like, at least D-Money sold it of like he car salesman to everything, and you're just like, Swarm looks like he's saying.
And he was, yeah, okay.
Even you tried.
But
I'm giving you a 2.3. I'll give you the Swarm stats.
At least I know which way to go with the next one. We got this.
That's fine. All right, Shiva, why did you give him a 3.5?
Yeah, I guess the explanation for me was a little bit better for me than it was for Gus, clearly. But I will say you brought it up at the end there by acknowledging like it wants to be like a powerful card. It was like when I think of acknowledge me, I don't think of like a 2-cost 3-power card that you discard, right? Like, so I don't. So like I was leaning closer to that 2 range, but then acknowledging that it's like it wants to be acknowledged, but it never really is. And so, that works for me.
Yeah. So like I'm curious. I don't know if I've seen the episodes, but I can't remember if anybody's asked. But the other card that I was looking at was Galactus, just kind of like the whole like acknowledge me, kneel before me, whatever. But I just felt like that was just too much on that side. So I don't know. We'll see.
Well, yeah. I mean, listen.
I would have given it more. There
you go.
I figured.
Yeah.
Hindsight's to eat away at you.
We're not playing the game anymore. We're playing the judges now.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. All right. So the second one is a line from a movie. I'm going to try to act it out as best as possible. All right. If you're nothing without this suit, then you shouldn't have it.
Okay.
You remember what movie that is?
There's an obvious one to go here. There's an obvious one, but I can't go too obvious, right?
No, you cannot.
Let's see. I'm going with Ghosts.
Dan Hipp Ghosts.
I'm going with Ghosts.
I don't know why you went with Ghosts.
If you've watched the MCU, Ant-Man, then you know that Ghost, this suit is helping keep Ghost in our dimension instead of the other. So without this suit, Ghosts won't exist here. She'll keep phasing through the different dimensions eventually and be gone. So if you remember the movie, if you know the movie, without this suit, Ghost is not here. Ghost is no longer Ghost. Again, the obvious one's Iron Man. We're not going Iron Man. We're going away from Iron Man. I have Dan Hipp Iron Man, but
or that card behind you in the middle.
Yeah.
Right.
It'd be a good one. So there's a few good choices in here. I think there's one other one I could have went with, but going with Ghost.
What would have been the other one? I've already written my scores.
Apocalypse.
Ooh,
another one that the suit is helping him.
Yes. Okay. That's cool. All right. You guys ready? Judges, you ready?
I'm ready.
I am.
All right. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Wow, such a hard
now we flipped.
Score. All right.
We flipped.
Yes. I need to know why, Shiva, you gave him a 2 for that.
Because it hurt my soul a little bit here. Not gonna lie. So I mean,
he hasn't seen the movie.
No, I have. It's one of my favorite. Like, I'm a big Iron Man fan, right? And it's like such a good moment between him and Spider-Man where he's helping him grow up. To me, you went too literal with it. It was like it was a very inspirational scene there where he was like, it's more of like if you need the suit to be good, then you're not really that good. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
if you need the suit, so I don't know. It was too literal for me. I do think the explanation of it though was very good.
Yeah.
And the reason that Ghost needs the suit, and like the explanation was really good. I feel worse now that Gus gave you a 4, so I feel like the bad guy now. Whereas like last round, I felt like the good guy. But
it's hard. It's hard. It's reading you guys. I mean, like I said, I could have went with the obvious Spider-Man, Iron Man. One of those two, but I wanted to branch out.
Well, you did, Guess
you did.
Guess felt that way. So 4.1. Guess why?
I mean, I liked the explanation specifically, and knowing your appreciation for Marvel in particular, I have no choice to believe you because I've specifically said that that series is just not worth my time, so I'm taking your word on it. Because I haven't watched it, but
I can tell you the first one. The first one's worth a watch. The other two,
I've seen the first. I've seen the first one. I've seen the first one, but I said series, and there's only so many sequels you should be able to suffer through, and that's a lot of S's in one sentence. But I think 4.1 felt appropriate. You sold it very well. You redeemed yourself.
All right, listen, that's perfect. Yeah, great job. Judges gave you your scores. They definitely did flip this time. Now we have a third round, so hopefully they either on the same page, or they, which is good or bad, or they a bit more the same. All right, so this one now is from an old school movie came out in the 80s, I believe. I'm gonna try to be as gangster as this person as possible. All right. You don't have the guts to be what you want to be. You need people like me. You need people like me so you could point your fingers and say, "That's the bad guy."
All right, I've got a thought here.
All right, let's see what you got.
Let me just double check. There's nobody else that pops up. Oh, there's two. There's two I'm looking at.
Choose wisely.
I know.
Or poorly. I'm cool with that too. Doesn't affect me.
I'm gonna try to meet you guys in the middle, because I feel like there's like three good choices here.
That's fair.
But I'm gonna go here and try to see if this can play off both of them potentially. All right. So we're at Hipp Monkey.
Let's go.
So I'm gonna go two ways with Hipp Monkey. One, again, going back to the amazing Dan Hipp art here. I mean, you got the gangster monkey. He's got the gun, the knife, the leather jacket, the sunglasses. I mean, he's got the look. He's got the look. But beyond that, if you guys don't know much about Hipp Monkey is a hitman. He is a murderous, killing monkey, but he's always trying to do good stuff as he has been reincarnated into this monkey. But he's always still just killing people, taking them out, becoming the bad guy in a lot of people's eyes because of that. So we're going Hipp Monkey with this one, and we'll see how these two guys think about that one.
That's pretty good. See how they feel.
Also, if you haven't seen it, it's a good series.
Yeah,
I think it's over on Hulu.
Yeah. And it's funny enough, you did mention that he did have morals, same thing as Scarface. So pretty good. If you guys haven't seen Scarface, that's where it's from.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Tony Montana.
That's right.
I mean, like Kingpin would have been a good one, but Kingpin doesn't have a Dan Hipp variant, so like that automatically throws him out. So
go on, Dan.
Ready? You guys ready? All right. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. All right.
There we did it.
Same page. Look at that. All right. So why did you give him a 4.3? Guess.
Great pick overall. Thematically, he's got even the flying necktie. You look in it as well. The gun. I mean, you hit the nail on the head with going for the character there. I took a little bit off because it wasn't blung, past tense, blinged. There was no crackle. There was no, you even had at least one split on it. You didn't showcase that one. Instead, you went with the full infinity base. But I felt like, I know you've got a lot of hips to manage here, but you could, give a little pizzazz. It's Hipp Monkey. He needs pizzazz. He's Hipp Monkey. Just pizzazz.
I can see that. I have one split on him, so he just has a holographic background. It's not.
I saw it. hiding back there.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Not
And
anything special.
yeah, no crack or anything. All right. Shivan, you gave him a perfect score. Why did you give him a perfect score?
Yeah, So I agree with what Gus said. Thematically on point with the character, with the aesthetic of the card. Perfect on point. Love that. I think a base infinite border. Everyone goes for the inks, everyone goes for the golds and the crackles, and yeah, they look great. And yes, I'm a baby variant collector. I have my full inked in gold baby decks, but there's something subtle about like with it also being a hitman. You don't want to be flashy. Like I think the black and white the inked would have been like the perfect one, but there's something to be said about hitmen aren't supposed to be flashy and shiny and in your face. So a subtle base infinite border look good to me.
Like it.
All right. That's perfect. Great answers. All right. So, Dan, you're at the score of 21.2, which puts you over the top. The score you had to beat was 19. That's the average you did for all the scores. So you are considered a collector, especially of the Dan Hipp. So congratulations to you.
Yay.
Now, before we go, I normally let the guests or the judges do the same thing to me in reverse. You could pick a topic, you could pick a song, you could pick an acting line, but you're going to have to do that, roll or sing that song, and give me an opportunity to pick a card based on your topic.
All right. So this is what I'm going to do, because Guest loves to sing. Guest is going to give us some line of a song that he can think off his head. And I'm going to make it harder. He's going to think of some Disney song, but again, it can only be like 2 seconds so we don't get striked or anything like that. I'm putting him on the spot.
All right.
This is what we do. This is what we do to each other.
Fine. Out there living in the sun, give me one day out there. All I ask is one to hold forever. And I'll stop there for DMCA.
Which movie was that?
That's Hunchback, Out There, Quasimodo.
Yes,
I went deep.
You took it back.
I went deep.
Oh my goodness.
You're gonna put me on the spot. I am going for it, man.
Hunchback of Notre Dame. Quasimodo. All right. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Good luck.
I think we can do it.
I could have gone simple like under that sea, but like, no, we're not going to go that simple, man. No. No, I'm going to do some weird ass, like, it's my all-time favorite movie, but like, for you all and the rest of the common public, I feel like it's very under-respected. So you know what? We're going to go that way.
I think I have one.
All right.
And I'm going to keep it in the hip theme.
Marker open.
I was going to say, I've got one if you don't have one.
And I have one with a hunchback. I mean, there's a couple I can think about, but I think I like this one the most, and that's what we're going to do. So let's share it. All right. I remember in the movie from back in the day, Hunchback of Notre Dame was about this wonderful gentleman who looked disfigured, had a hunchback, etc., scared the children and the people of the town. And when you see this card, the way his head is enormous, and if he walked the streets right now, he would scare all the children. And people nowadays definitely despise the leader. And at the end of the day, if you really got to know the leader, you will understand that he's not a monster and he's actually a good individual behind that, especially when you are playing leader on that final turn. So this is why I went with Dan Hipp, leader.
Okay.
Let me know when you guys are ready.
Okay.
Ready.
All right.
We're good.
1, 2, 3. That's fantastic. 5, 4.5, 3.5. All right. We'll start with you, Dan. Why 3.5?
All right. So here's the thing. There's an obvious one for this one, and it would have been Swarm. This is where Swarm would have won.
That's true.
On this one.
Like Hunchback. You're right. You're right.
He's got the hood. He's got the hunchback, everything. But
he's right.
So beyond that, though, I think the leader in general is definitely a good pick as a secondary pick. I think the only other one I maybe would have debated was Luke Cage. Maybe just I don't know. Luke Cage looks kind of weird with sort of a hunchback too, but so that's why I gave you the 3.5. A little bit of points off because there was two others that came to mind like really quickly. Above that again, I think Swarm's the obvious answer.
You're right.
But I like it. You went, instead of the hunchback, you went with the hunch head, like the giant head. Yes. So same kind of thing, frightening for kids and everything. So that's why I went with the 3.5.
All right, Shiva, what about you?
Yeah, I went with the 4.5. I like the card. I also was thinking through a couple different cards, like, Leech would have been a pretty good one there as well, potentially. Like, just, I think Leader's better. But the only reason I gave it a 4.5 instead of a full 5 was because, Quasimodo, all these cards that we're talking about are supposed to stick out, and I don't see enough bling on that card for it to stick out, right? It's like the opposite of Hitmonkey. Hitmonkey's a hitman, so he wants to be quiet.
That logic makes sense. Right. I can understand that.
Right. So, but the whole thing with Leader is that, like, he sticks out, and that's why he scares people. But if you get to know him, right? But he doesn't stick out with there's no bling on it.
That is fair. That is fair. All right. Guess perfect score. Why?
I mean, I actually did 5.1 in particular for two reasons.
Okay.
For two reasons. One, I didn't want him to feel bad last week as the only person to give higher than 5, so I decided to go into good company. And two, anything to just give you a better score higher than default Dan. So I just said, this is perfect. It's a great disfigured looking character, and I liked your attempt at the explanation. It was good enough for me to say I might need to change my shirt. That's fine.
All right, awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, awesome. That was fantastic, guys. Dan, again, thank you for coming on and showing off your amazing Dan Hipp collection. Judges, guys, thanks for coming on. I hope you guys will be great to come on and sit in the false Dan seats, and he can sit in your seat and give you guys fair scores as well.
Oh, I've already written my notes of how I'm already whatever they pick. I know what I'm putting.
Well, Dan, again, you are one of the top collectors. So again, thank you guys, and hope to see you guys in another episode.
Appreciate it.